Jinki 63 is inviting us to explore this shadow of doubt, self-doubt, leading us into the way in the process of inquiry, helping us to discover our personal truth, and hopefully even more than just our personal truth, the truth, with the big letter T. What was incredibly useful for me working with this specific shadow, and you can, I'm pretty sure, apply this process while working with other shadows, is to actually looking at my own doubts rather than feeling the shadow of the doubt. And I think what happens to me a lot of times is that I don't have time or do not acknowledge the doubt and just continue experiencing its shadow over and over again. While this time, this Jinki was very, very useful and inspired me to sit down, take a pen and paper and write down all doubts that are casting its shadow onto all projects, onto all feelings, onto everything that is currently in my life, helping and allowing me to step into my full experience of the truth. And that experience was incredibly liberating, to just look on the piece of paper at all of the doubts that I was able to write down, and it didn't take me long, within less than 10 minutes. And it was incredibly to see how some of those doubts are so mental. They come from my mind, and nothing really, they don't have any substantial support. They just concept of my mind, based on some fear, based on some lack, based on some experience of me before now, me without knowing what I know now, me without living the parts of the lives that I have lived through up to this moment. But it's interesting how I still have the doubts that were with me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm sure there were some doubts that I had from the moment that from the moment that I first took my first step and walked for a few seconds thinking, oh my gosh, this is a scary experience, but it feels fun. But still, it's much more safer to just crawl, remembering that there are still thoughts and feelings that are safe, yet they are not the thoughts and desires that are taking us into our full potential. So this is where process of working with our doubts through inquiry is so incredibly empowering and liberating, because it helps us to remember our potential, to remember where and how we can get closer to our potential, which is our truth, which is our full, complete embodiment of the truth that we are here to experience. We can look at doubt and the truth maybe as our interplay of our right and left part of the brain, but I feel like that story itself has been played out and repeated so many times that we make our brain and our mind as the function of our brain, sort of like we become a victim of our mind in that way. And it doesn't have to be that. Our mind is just as precious as our feelings, as our heart. And one is not more or better or more important than the other. They both are very, very crucial to how we build and how we express our aliveness. It's very much yin and yang. You cannot take out yin out of yang. You cannot take out masculine energy away from feminine energy, because then there is separation consciousness. So they both have to be together in this constant playful interplay. And that how we create harmony, how we create balance. So thinking that our mind is not valid would not be true. So going back to our mind is very important through the process of inquiry, but that's where inquiry also takes us into looking at our mind and saying where within our mind we have a little bit of troubleshooting to do, and these are our doubts. When we look at our doubts and identify them and seeing how much energy the doubt and the shadow of our doubt and all other doubts are taking out from our physical body, from our mental body, from our emotional body, from our spiritual body, we then start to notice that transforming the doubts or releasing the doubts really then generates aliveness back into our bodies, as I mentioned in some previous episodes. And just that simple, very, very easy few-minute method helped me really to unleash so much creative power for pretty much the week ahead of me. I was swimming in my creativity. I was enjoying all creative impulses without judging them, without doubting them, without putting any borders, any limits on my creativity, and just really allowing it to come through with no expectations of what my creativity is supposed to look like, or how I should call myself, or how I should feel, or how I should think about things. Just let things happen. While mind steps in beautifully, helping to organize, helping to structure a little bit that stream of creativity. So I think it's incredibly important to know how to use mind and how to use the structure, rather than just always using structure, always using logic to build your life. Sooner or later, we will hit the doubt. And if we're not identifying our doubts, we'll keep hitting them, experiencing things and experiencing stagnation, and eventually probably even depression. And the more I live in the state of creativity, in the state of conscious, constant allowing of my own life force, without any filters, without any beautifying, just let it be the way it is, I'm noticing that living our own truth, living the way we are, is such an incredible gift. Allowing our aliveness to come forward, to come through our beings, is such a blessing, is such a gift. That is the truth. We are the truth simply by living our own lives the way that aliveness, beaming and streaming through us.